Two special friends to be here with this morning, Rob and Beatrice. They're friends of mine from Village Church, and I want them to come forward at this time because I want to ask them some questions in regards to their journey. You're going to hear a lot more about their journey this evening at the concert, but I wanted you to hear their personal journey, not what they're doing, but their own personal journey. And now, Beatriz, your last name ends with a Z. That's not how we spell Beatrice here in North America. Where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Any Brazilians here? We need to get some Brazilians in here. They cook good. Awesome food. And Rob, that's an American name.
Very American.
Yeah. How does a Brazilian meet an American?
Well, I was born here in Michigan, so I'm a native Michigander, I guess. And Beatrice, you came to Andrews to study, right? And she was studying piano performance, getting her master's, and she played at our church, Village Church. And every now and then I would wander over to Village Church. I was a wandering member from church to church, you know. And I'd wander over to the Village Church, and she said, and she can comment anytime, but I heard, this is my version of the story, that she said that there was a guy staring at her in the front row. And every time she would go and play, this guy would be staring at her in the front row. And,
who was that guy?
Well, I guess it was me. And then she said she really knew that this guy liked her when, I guess, you know, the choir didn't have a lot of time to practice and they didn't do too well. And this guy came up to her after church and said, "Wow, that was just great music." And she's like, "Oh, I kind of had a sense that maybe you liked me." So I was not hidden at all.
Is this accurate, Beatriz?
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
We've been working on that, so
You didn't
he's
mind
doing a good job.
being stared at while you were playing?
No.
By him. Amen. Now, Beatriz, just a little bit. How did you end up here in the United States? You were born in Brazil. How did the Lord create this journey that you ended here?
You know, it's been my dream to come to do piano in the U.S. My first experience leaving the country was when I went to France, but my dream was to get to go to Europe and then come to the U.S. to continue my music education. And the Lord has opened the doors. In 2001, I came to Andrews. So.
Were you a roaming member too?
No. First I came, I was attending PMC, but I had some friends that invited me to go to Village Church to play for the choir. So then I moved. I pretty much moved my membership from Brazil to Village Church. So, and that's where I am.
Until this guy started staring at you.
And yeah.
Then it became more concrete.
One of his wonders, so he stopped there.
So this passion of yours for piano took you from Brazil to France to the United States.
Yes.
It's a wonderful thing what a passion can do when you pursue that. Now, Rob, tell us a little bit about your path, your journey. What are you passionate about?
Well, I grew up with I guess, a skill for artistic things, and I draw a lot, and I went to school and got a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, and so after I got out of school, I got a job doing graphic design and photography, and I like doing that along with traveling. My first mission trip I went on was when I was 14 in Pathfinders. Here,
Amen.
I don't know if you remember a teen mission. They went to Haiti, and then they went to Dominican Republic, and I went on that. And so I enjoyed traveling. I didn't like to really spend money on food, but I would always save up my money to go see things, go places. and
Maybe that's
things
why I
like
never
that.
went
So
too far.
Those are my two passions of art, design,
And travel.
traveling, and witnessing as well.
Okay. Passion for piano, passion for arts and traveling. Let's fast forward a little bit. What began to happen about 4 years ago in your personal life that would give us a context of when God stepped in?
Yeah, I think just a little before, 4 years ago, if we start a little bit farther back, 2003, when Beatrice and I first got married, things are going pretty good. I meet this wonderful girl, I have a really good job. And I had been in that job for a while, and the owners were working on, selling it off to myself. And so I saw lots of business opportunities, and we were getting married, and she had enough money. She was paying off her school. My school was already paid off. So we felt like things were pretty good.
Financially?
Yeah. And in our lives, with our family, health in our family, and, love. But then, as you were saying, about 4 years ago, it just seems like that everything that we were building started to fall apart. Like I mentioned, this business that I was, that was doing well, prior to that, things started shrinking. I mean, the whole economy, we called it, we're in the recession. And especially here in Michigan, working with designers, as a designer with the auto industry and people that supply the auto industry, plastics people, manufacturers, all these people were tightening their belts. And so we were seeing our business shrinking. And, we had built up, we had at one point 10 employees, and then I had to shrink it down to 5, and it kept shrinking, and we'd watch the payables go up and the receivables go down, and pretty soon I had a partner that said, you know what, I'm done. And I was looking at where I was and seeing that, that we just had this pile of debt. And, Beatrice and I, we were trying to be fairly frugal with our money and live debt-free. We were working on having our cars paid off, working on paying off our house. But just this, surmountable wave started coming over us. And we felt like we were in the bottom of a pit, with nowhere to go. And so I think that's kind of what you were mentioning about what happened 4 years ago. That's
Financially, you guys became void and became not just void, but actually in debt, an enormous amount of debt. What happened to your house during this time?
Yeah, well, so beginning, I guess 4 years ago, beginning of 2008, that's when, employees left, partner left. We're trying to take care of this business debt of, with the properties and things of over $500,000.
And on top of everything, since we were feeling pretty good the previous year, we felt that we could bring my nephew here, a 13-year-old, to go through Ruth Murdoch and give him a taste of
Christian education.
Christian education, and also learn English. So on top of everything, we had this kid to pay through his school. So it was like one more thing to add. Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to keep to that commitment. And it just seemed like when we brought him, and then one of our cars went into the ditch. The other, it was snowing. It's about February. This is now beginning of 2009. We have another little Honda that's out in the parking lot. And one day I just went out. It was covered with snow. I went out, got something in the trunk, shut the trunk, and then the back glass just decided to cave into my car. and we had just, wrecked the truck like a week before. And, I wasn't getting paid from, I was just working hard to pay business debt. And also, I think, what you're mentioning, but was a little later that year, is we had a finished basement that I had worked hard on finishing myself, doing everything right and the carpet and all that stuff. And then it started flooding. And so here we have 2 wrecked cars, a flooded basement, debt looming way over our heads. And, like I said, we just felt like, is there any lower that we can go? I mean, we were in the bottom of the well with sharks underneath that. I mean, it was not a good situation. And when we got married, I had some gray hair, but not as much.
That just tops it all off. So you're reaching this all-time low that you thought could not get any lower, and it does, and it keeps getting lower. At this time, you receive a Christmas gift from 2 good friends. Tell us a little bit about that.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we got a series of DVDs probably you are familiar with, The Radical Prayer by
Derek Morris.
Derek Morris. And we start watching, and you can continue. So I'm shy.
Yeah, so it was about, the need is great, or the harvest is great, and the workers are few. And he's challenging people throughout the series to pray this radical prayer, saying, God, take my life, take everything in it, do with it what you will. I'm here to be your servant. And so we started praying the radical prayer. I mean, what else could we lose?
What prompted you to pray that prayer? I mean, you're not saying, Lord, I'll pray this prayer after you unflood my basement, after you get me out of debt, after you bring some restoration to our vehicles. What prompted you to pray that prayer at that point?
Right. Good point. I've heard stories where people, some guy in a prison, at the bottom of his life, rats eating his skin, and he's like, Lord, get me out of this prison and I'll serve you, and then he has a miracle, he gets out of prison and he serves, God for the rest of life. Great story. But we said, we know we have a powerful God, and we know that he is going to get us through the mess. So kind of knowing that he could take care of us, we said, we will serve you now, knowing you'll take care of us, versus get us out of this mess, and we will serve, then we will serve you. So if you get me out of this mess, then I'll serve you. If you get me out of this prison, then I'll serve you. So that's kind of the philosophy that we took.
You guys made a choice to not wait for the deliverance, so to speak, but rather right now we feel convicted, impressed to do this now, and we will trust that you will get us out.
Yeah.
So that prayer,
and we want it out fast.
Amen.
Yeah, we were praying.
You guys raised your hands when I said debt free, so I know. So now you pray this prayer from this DVD series by Derek Morris on the radical prayer. I read the book; it's really good. You begin to pray this prayer, and what happens next?
Well, then we start looking for what is God asking us to do. Beatrice being from Brazil, she said, there's a lot of need there in Brazil. We are kind of keeping our ear to the ground, said, God, if you give us any whisper of something you would have us do in Brazil, we're there. So that's kind of a little fleece that we're throwing out to God.
Okay.
You want to put any
and
comments?
then a friend of ours that attends Village Church one day during potluck, she asked me, would you translate some letters that I have? Because she had lived in Brazil like 20 years ago, and she made friends over there, and she still communicates with them, but she doesn't speak Portuguese. She wanted some help translating. I said, sure. And then right away she said, I love those people there. I haven't been there for a long time, and would like to have an opportunity to go back and do some kind of work with them maybe a VBS or just go and visit them. Would you guys be willing to do that?
So normally I have this policy, like, when salespeople sit down with you or come at your door, they knock or call you on the phone, they always, you got to take this offer right away, it won't be here tomorrow. And I always have this policy. I say, I sleep over every decision that I make. And it's gotten me out of a lot of stuff. I don't have a timeshare in Florida because of that. And there's a lot of good things.
You didn't buy the abdominizer because of that?
Yeah. So usually we say, okay, we'll go home, we'll sleep about it, we'll pray about it, and then we'll give you an answer. But being that Beatrice and I had already been praying this radical prayer and praying specifically if God would give us something to do in Brazil, we would do it. So basically right there at the potluck across the table, we kind of surprised her. We said, we're in. We'll go. We'll help you out. If you're coming with us, we'll go. I don't know how, but we'll do it.
Okay. So what was you guys' game plan after this? You guys are $500,000 in debt, flooded house, car wrecks. This opportunity falls into your lap because you're praying. What do you do now that you've committed, that you said, yes, we'll go?
So we sat down, we started making a plan, and we said, okay, we will go a year from now. Being that we could go, we could share with people what we wanted to do, that we wanted to serve this community, and we were hoping that people maybe would help us go. But when we started sharing with people, we went to another friend's house and said, Miriam and Milton and me and Beatrice, we're going to be, we want to help these people in Brazil, and we just want to know what you think about it. And they said, good, we'll go too. And so then there was like 6 of us. And then we went and we told my parents, we said, we're looking at maybe doing something in Brazil. And they said, great, we'll go too. And we were like, whoa. So there's like, there was 6, there was 8, there was 10, there was 12, there was 14.
Then we start getting scared because we were thinking about just little thing, going, visiting people, doing a little VBS and not a mission trip or anything organized. Just go and see people.
So we said, if we're going to do this, it needs to be organized. And so we are praying.
But before that, just one thing. We're not sharing much with the church, just between our friends. And then one of our pastors, we went to Campo Sabo for a marriage retreat. And then Pastor Hayward and Dorothy, they said, little bird told us that you guys are wanting to go to Brazil. We would like to go with you too. And then from then, they shared with our senior pastor, and he came and said, we want to do this as an official village church mission trip.
Amen.
And then that was scary.
So we have people, we have the church saying we want to make this an official trip. We end up having a dentist wanting to go. The pastor there said, I have 3 churches I want you to do evangelistic series in. There's a couple places they want VBS going on. And we felt like we did have the manpower to do it. But even though she's from Brazil, we felt like we needed to go there and do a little groundwork before we took this team of people to go. But like you said, we were at the bottom of the pit with sharks even swimming under that. So you want to tell your little story how we got there?
Just shortly. That was around January. And we're just thinking, we need to go and see, because if you're planning going in December, we need to make a plan. And we had no money, nothing. Then my parents were visiting during Christmas. We took them to Chicago, and we spent a night in a hotel nearby the airport. On the next day, our car was just clean. Everything was clean. We had nothing there. Someone stole everything we had. The only thing they left was Rob's church shoes.
And my toothbrush.
And his toothbrush.
But we had a lot of stuff.
We had a lot of stuff.
Because we were sending things back to Brazil. I mean, this was part of our mission too.
You just think a
we
truck.
were sending our clothes and things like that. And so we have a Durango, and it was filled up to the top. And, you know, we had our parents squeezed in there, and we were sitting in the front to drive there. And the next day after we went to the hotel, we were going to go to church. And I went out to get the car, and I was like, why is Beatrice's music, you know, laying here on the seat? I moved it over, I went to back out, and something just seemed strange, you know, nothing was in the truck. Well, we figured it, you know, everything out that we lost. We turned it into insurance.
We didn't even think about insurance because at that point, the police came and made a report, and it was exactly when that airplane had an accident in New York and no one died by the Hudson Bay. And he said, you know, that was a good, if we can consider this a good crime or whatever, it was good. No one got hurt, and it was like, okay.
A good crime.
So, yeah. Okay, so no one died. That's fine. But the hotel didn't take any responsibility. We were not even thinking about anything. It was just, okay, lost. And as my parents were checking in, they said, "Where are your luggage?" That's it. my dad just said, "Naked I came to earth, naked I'm going back to home." That's it. But anyways, when we went back home, one of the parents of one of my students, they just suggest me, you know what? Once this kind of thing happens to us when we were in Italy, and our home insurance covered part of it, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So then we had to make that big list. So you guys that have been through this know that you gotta put price and remember everything that you had. And so making this story short, and we were not thinking that we were gonna get anything. So, and we just saying, God, it's time. It's about time for us to go. You gotta show us something. And I remember it was a Friday, and I was giving God a little time. I said, God, that's today. Today's the day. If you don't if you don't send us any money, show us how we're going to Brazil, we're not going.
On the pre-trip.
On the pre-trip, we're not going. And I told Rob, and that was one day that I was going with him to work. And it was like 6 a.m., and I said, you know, nothing happened, 6 a.m. And Rob said, wait, the day is not over yet. But anyways, when we went back, and I opened our mailbox, a check of $7,000 was there from 7 Plus, and we could cover basically everything that we lost.
So that cop was kind of prophetic when he called it a good crime.
Yes.
Because it ended up funding you guys. Now,
yes.
You guys went to this pre-trip, and I was there when you guys took many of the church out there for that first trip. When you guys came back, where people were like, that was fun, we can get on with our lives? Is that what happened? Right. And you guys, back to paying bills?
Well, we did a lot of other things too. You know, we sold a lot of stuff that we had. So that helped us out. But then, you know, we had garage sales. You know, we just were trying to find every way that we could. And we were able to raise enough. And along with that, they were asking, we went on this pre-trip and they said, we were praying that people would come from the States and help us build this church.
In Brazil?
In Brazil. And we said, well, wait a second. We're here to do some VBSs, but God has not told us we're building a church yet. But we came back, we started sharing the needs there, and we raised the money for the church. And so we went, and we came back.
How much did the church raise? Do you guys remember?
How much did it cost for the church?
How much did the church raise to?
It's about, the church costs about $18,000.
I'm talking about Village Church.
Right, for all the participants, and the participants were raising their own money to go.
Yeah.
It was about $80,000, $85,000 trip. mission trip, paying for everyone's tickets and everything. That's everyone's collective work. Halfway through planning this Brazil trip, we went to ASI and stuff, and God was pulling us to Africa. And first we were like, and it just keeps, little hooks kept hooking us, saying, we have this project for you in Africa. And we said, let us get through Brazil first. And but it was far enough in advance by the time we got back from Brazil that we unveiled Africa then right after that. So we went to Brazil, and this was now the next year. So we went to Brazil, and then the year after that we went to Africa. The year after that we went to the Bahamas, and now we're planning another Africa trip. And so God keeps leading us, and we also have another India one on the horizon.
India as well.
Yeah, but so did you have a question in there?
Yes.
'Cause I'm trying to wrap up. I know we're losing time here.
Well, my question was this. I guess it's twofold. Have you guys ever thought what would have happened if you guys would have never taken that initial step? Where would you guys be right now?
Right. So a lot of people ask us, because I go through, we tell our story, and then I get so excited about the missions in the end, and then I sit down and you say, God has been amazing, He's been working through, He's been doing all this, and then I forget myself. And I sit down and then people say, well, what about the end of your story? Tell us the miracle. How did He help you? How did you get out of your situation, right? And I say, well, I feel like 4 years now, from now, and we've paid a lot off. At one point I had 4 lawyers, all that stuff, and we still have little tails of things that come and bite us. We just had a $3,000 CPA bill that we had to take care of. But God has fed us. One of the people that was asking us, well, how did God help you out? He was one of the interviewers up front. He goes, it doesn't look like you've been going hungry. I was like, well, what does he mean? What does he mean? But
the Brazilian food, brother.
Yes. But God has been faithful. And we have had a roof over our head. Our basement is still not fixed.
That I want to add that helped me personally not to concentrate so much in our problems, because before that we're like, look what has happened to me. Look what happened to our house, our things, our. And when we start looking at others, seeing the need of others, our needs, it just seems like nothing.
So, kind of in close, unless you had another question, but we do feel like we're not at the bottom of the pit anymore with sharks swimming around us. We've been working very hard this last 4 years. It's been a very long 4 years. And we feel like that we're out of the well, like laying on the edge, trying not to get pushed back in. But there's always something new. We got back from Brazil, and then my dad was diagnosed with Parkinson's. Just a year and a half ago, his mother was living with him, and our grandmother died. And so there it seems like, this life is not perfect. There's always something that's hitting you on the head, it seems like. But I think if we would have waited and said, God, if you get me out of this mess, or when you get me out of this mess, I will serve you, we wouldn't have been to Brazil, we wouldn't have helped Africa, and that's just the little things. Our community as well, our church taking on this mission project, they could have said, wait until we get our $300,000 debt taken care of.
Yeah.
But yet they took us on, and their debt was also paid off as well within the same period of time.
Month, the church paid off.
So if the church would have waited, if we would have waited, look at all these blessings we would have missed. And God is taking care of us. And we see that now. And sometimes we think we have to wheel and deal with God And God is just saying, no, I want to give you blessings. I want to show you how I want you to serve me, and you will be blessed. I will take care of you.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
and it won't be perfect until heaven. So
Yes, right.
I've given up on that. but things are good. Things are good. We aren't as, life has its ups and downs, and I don't know where you guys are at. Some might be at the bottom. Some might be on a hill. It will roll up and down. But with God, it helps you,
Stay even keel.
keep focused and know where you're heading.
It's nice to know that we have a higher purpose than just to pay off a mortgage, doesn't it? They're going to be sharing some more other things this afternoon, this evening, so I'm not going to ask any more questions. We'll leave that for this afternoon, for the concert. I want to go through the rest of the sermon. Thank you. Were you blessed by this testimony? If the Spirit of God calls us, let us not wheel and deal. I like that phrase, because God is not seeking to take anything out of us, but rather open up channels that we do not foresee right now.